In 2021, two women drove through downtown Cedar Key and saw what most people had stopped seeing. Not ruins exactly, but close. Historic buildings that had been sitting empty for roughly 15 years, quietly aging toward a point of no return. Caryn Stephenson and Mendy Allen were realtors who both lived on the island. They were also, as it turned out, exactly what Cedar Key's downtown needed. They purchased 11 parcels of historic downtown property for $2 million and called the effort the Carmen Project, a combination of their first names. The goal was straightforward and also quietly radical. Take buildings that Cedar Key was on the verge of losing and bring them back to a useful, beautiful life. What they could not have known when they started is that they would be doing it in the middle of a hurricane sequence that would test everything they built. The Lutterloh Building was finished in January 2023. Hurricane Helene hit in September 2024. 9 feet of water outside the walls. The building held. This is the Gallivanter Podcast. I'm Chad. The Lutterloh Building at 497 2nd Street dates to 1871, built as the home of John B. Lutterloh, the Cedar Key agent for the Florida Railroad, alderman, and eventually mayor. A sign above the entrance today reads Lutterloh Store 1872, marking when its commercial life began. The building is constructed with tabby, a material made from oyster shells, lime, and water that was common in coastal Florida construction of that era. By the time Stephenson and Allen took it over, it had been sitting largely unoccupied for about 15 years. After a year of renovations, the ground floor reopened as Main Street Mercantile, a gift shop that earns your time. The second floor, originally a single private residence, became 3 short-term rental apartments. Stephenson and Allen named all 3 after women from Cedar Key's history. The Rose apartment honors a writer from the 1880s who exposed a local mayor known for violence against residents and risked her own safety to have him removed from office. The Kate apartment is named for the first woman lighthouse keeper at the Seahorse Key Light Station, 3 miles southwest of Cedar Key. And the Eliza apartment, where Abby and I stayed, is named for Eliza Hearn. Eliza and her sister Amelia homesteaded land in what is now Cedar Key after their father died, before he could complete the process himself. Eliza was a single woman. She noted in her diary that no men worthy of her love existed in Cedar Key at the time, and so she finished the homestead herself. In 1873, the federal government titled 80 acres to her name. She and Amelia taught school, one of the few institutions Cedar Key had in those years that wasn't directly tied to the train industry or the mills. Cedar Key School started as a private school in the 19th century, run by the 2 sisters. When Eliza donated the site to the local government, she attached one condition: the graves of her family, her sister, her father, Captain Thomas Hearn, and herself would be maintained on the property. That land became the site of the public school. The gravestone is still there, directly behind the current gym, bearing their names and a single line: lived here and supported public schools. Eliza died in 1910 at the age of 81. She had homesteaded the land, taught the children, outlasted the pencil mills and most of the people who had arrived on the first trains, and left the ground under her feet to the town she chose to stay in. The Eliza apartment is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom space with a full kitchen stocked with everything you need and sofa recliners that you will not want to leave. Above the main bathroom, a stained glass window with remote-controlled lighting changes the character of the room depending on your mood. In the evenings, the wide front porch has a swing that puts you directly above 2nd Street. We sat out there and watched Cedar Key move below us at its own pace. At one point, a tour bus pulled up and stopped down the block at Steamers, which relocated to 434 2nd Street after the fire on Dock Street and Helene destroyed its original waterfront location, and is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Before we left, we spent time in Main Street Mercantile downstairs. Lots of locally made products here and unique souvenirs you'll only find in this shop. The back is Salty Seas, a gourmet food and seafood market. And next door, in the second Carmen Project building, is Foreshore. The Schlemmer building has been on Cedar Key's Main Street since 1880. It is the oldest brick building remaining in Cedar Key. Stephenson and Allen turned it into an eclectic boutique with home decor, vintage items, and salvaged pieces. There's even a section full of mantiques. We went in browsing and came out carrying a couple of items home. 2 women, 2 buildings, a street that had been quiet for well over a decade and is now worth the walk. A couple blocks away, Dock Street is in 2 different states at the same time. On the water side, where the fire burned through in September 2024 and Helene compounded the damage a week later, the rebuilding is happening, but it's slow and deliberate. Construction is underway on a new and improved big deck bar and grill. Fresh paint was being added the day we walked by. Across the street, Jordan Keaton, the owner of 83 West, is rebuilding for the 4th time. He said he is not in a hurry to put back something that the next storm can take again. That kind of patience is hard-earned. It is also, in its own way, a form of optimism. Further down Dock Street, Harbor Master Suites and the Dilly Dally Galley gift shop are proudly welcoming visitors. The t-shirts are still hanging outside in the breeze, tempting you to take one home. And yes, the Tipsy Cow Bar and Grill still sits high above it all, with those awesome water views. We purchased a locally handmade wooden bowl at Island Arts, one of our favorites since we started visiting Cedar Key nearly 20 years ago. And new businesses have moved in during the recovery period. Jaybirds Chicken, a new concept by Keaton, is open and doing well, judging by the nonstop flow of customers when we were there. A dessert shop called Dock Street Dips is next door, while Sip and See Wine Bar attracts locals and visitors alike in the evenings. There's even Cedar Key Snackle Box, a small convenience store that sells everything from snacks and travel essentials to frozen bait and live tackle. It should be pointed out that these are not legacy businesses holding on. They are new businesses that looked at Cedar Key in 2025 with the construction fencing still up and decided this place was the right place and the right time. The message is consistent and direct. Cedar Key is still a beautiful place. Come out, shop, eat, support local businesses. The town is not finished rebuilding, but it is open, and it is ready for you. Abby and I have been coming to Cedar Key for nearly 20 years, but it was about 6 years ago, just before the pandemic, that the place really got its hooks in us. We stayed at what was then the Firefly Cottages on State Road 24, a collection of 1950s cracker-style fishing cabins on the back bay of the Gulf, half a mile from downtown. Ian Mackey and his partner Darren ran the place and welcomed us like we had been coming there for years. We went back. We kept going back. Cedar Key got into our heads the way certain places do, quietly and permanently. When Helene hit, the Firefly Cottages took the full force of it. One cabin was lost entirely. Ian told a reporter in January of 25 that the insurance situation had become unworkable, that bills kept coming with no revenue, and that the property's commercial designation had left them with almost no federal disaster relief. After everything they had built there, Ian and Darren made the call to sell and move on. Driving into Cedar Key on this trip, we passed the property and slowed down. Something was different. The grounds had been transformed. New owners, Dan and Stacy, purchased the property after Helene and gave it a complete facelift. They renamed it Old Florida Fish Camp, which tells you exactly what they understood about the place from the moment they took it on. They went back to the roots. 8 cabins, renovated with back bay views, fully equipped kitchens in 5 of them, kayaks, bikes, golf carts, a hot tub, a dock, and a fish cleaning station out back. The property is open and taking reservations.